Uh, Pradeep, we're getting in visuals of Yogi Adityanath in Ayodhya. The next 10 days will be critical. We've seen this kind of political discourse. Some political parties already trying to question the visit and the developments. And we've seen how for years, for nearly 4 decades, we've had such a volatile debate on Ayodhya. And finally, when it's ended, some still want to keep that alive.
For the past 1 week, and let me tell you that entire Ayodhya, whether it is Hindu, Muslim or any faith, is speaking in one resolve that, and they're extremely happy that a temple will be built there, because it is just not about a temple being built there, but it will entirely change the economy of Ayodhya, and it will also bring massive amount of tourists there. Now, a lot of politicians are trying to continue their politics because their politics in the past 2 decades has been on this principle of divide and rule, where they've done majority versus minority. They were thinking that once the ruling will come from the Supreme Court, there will be riots in this country or divisions in this country. But this country has respected the verdict of the Supreme Court in letter and spirit, and not even one incident of violence has taken place, which completely reflects the will of the people. And when I was on the ground, Niranjan, whether it was Hanuman Garhi, whether it was Saryu River, everywhere the sentiment was that people were waiting for the Bhoomi Pujan to start. Now, because of on the 5th, and the Prime Minister to come on the 5th. Now, because of the COVID, there was reports on the ground that there might be a curfew which is imposed. But apart from despite that, every household in Ayodhya promised me and told me off the record that we will light a diya. This speaks volumes about what Ayodhya means to people of this country, and it is a constitutional verdict which completely reflects the secular fabric of this great nation. And individuals like Mr. Owaisi, AIMM, and certain leaders of Majid Memon, I think they have lost complete relevance. They need to reinvent their political narrative because people of this country are no longer buying it. And Yogi's visit, I think, is a prelude or a trailer to what the Prime Minister's visit. And on the 5th, there will be live screens which will be displayed across Ayodhya. And also, the Bhoomi Pujan will be displayed on live television. You will not see a lot of people on the road because of COVID, but you will see every household of Ayodhya across the globe standing with Ayodhya by lighting a diya. So it will be a mini Deepavali of sorts in Ayodhya, Niranjan.
Pradeep, about this, years and decades of struggle, and it's finally ended with the Mandir being constructed. What's the mood on the ground in Ayodhya? You've been there for the last few days and interacting with people.
Niranjan, yes, I have been there from the past 1 week, and I've traveled every lane of Ayodhya, and the mood on the ground is of happiness, the mood on the ground is of hope, the mood on the ground is that finally, after centuries in principle, but decades of struggle, finally a mandir is built. Now, I'll give you a personal instance. I was to this place, which was the Akhada, and this Akhada was the place where the entire Ram Mandir movement had started. So whether it is saints, and there's a very good line which one of the saints of Digambar Akhada told me, ki Sangram hi zindagi ka mahatva. In fact, struggle is the essence and truth of life. That is what Ayodhya stands for. And ironically, in Ayodhya, a lot of politics in Ayodhya has taken place. But when you travel inside Ayodhya, when you travel in the lanes of Ayodhya, you will find everything else apart from politics. It is pure bond and spirituality which connects this place, and people are extremely hopeful that because Ayodhya is very near to Lucknow, so Ayodhya is roughly 150 kilometers to Lucknow, because of which development of Ayodhya could not take place since years. But now with the temple coming up, people are also hopeful that their economic living and will get a huge boost. So the mood on Ayodhya in Ayodhya is in one line, that their decades-old wish is coming true, and everybody across, whether it is across age groups, across religion, is waiting for this to happen. Now, because of COVID, a huge function could not be organized. But let me tell you that a lot of people on the ground are telling me that after the COVID subsides, possibly the next year, you will see an entire week of celebration closer to this 5th August, which will be celebrated annually. So people of Ayodhya are telling in one voice to the people of this country that finally what they wanted since centuries is coming out to be true. And one other important point, Niranjan, is it is said that, in order to visit a Ram temple, you have to first visit the Hanuman temple. That's why the location of the grand Ram temple is just, steps away from the Hanuman Garhi. So you need to visit the Lord Hanuman's, famous Hanuman Garhi temple in order to visit the Ram temple. So it is all planned in a very beautiful way. And along with it, a lot of four-lane highways are also coming, four-lane road is also coming up. So it is, there are a lot of hotels which have taken up land for the hospitality sector. So it is just not about faith, Niranjan. The temple coming at Ayodhya will entirely change the socio-economic, demography of the region, and it will really benefit the common man. This is also a very important factor that people of Ayodhya are looking forward to.
I'm staying with these pictures. Pradeep, if you can just talk to our viewers about the pictures. Now, he's landed in Ayodhya and then proceeded on to Hanuman Garhi. We'll just put those two pictures. Now, those are full-frame pictures of him in Hanuman Garhi. Tell us about the significance of it. For all our viewers who are joining us on this live broadcast, these are pictures coming in from Ayodhya. These are live pictures. And the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh is getting a live demonstration, a walk about in the site where the Ram Mandir will be constructed. You've been there, Pradeep. Tell our viewers all about what we can expect and how things are unfolding, the preparations in Ayodhya.
In fact, the picture that you see where the Chief Minister is going across Hanuman Garhi. Now, Hanuman Garhi is called as the Gaddi of the Lord Hanuman. So it is said, as the stories say, that when Lord Ram had to, move away, he had ensured that the Lord Hanuman is for the last place where he ensured that Lord Hanuman stays is Hanuman Garhi. So Hanuman Garhi is a very has a historical significance, and no puja at Ram temple can be complete without a visit to Hanuman Garhi. So you have to visit the Hanuman Garhi first in order to visit the Ram temple. That is why you see in the pictures, and even the Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, he first visited Hanuman Garhi and then he moved to the Ram temple. Now, when you move towards the grand Ram temple, which is constructed, it is a long walk. So it's at least a kilometer or walk from Hanuman Garhi. All your phones are kept. You're not allowed to take pictures. And at this moment, there is huge security cover. But let me tell you about Hanuman Garhi with the pictures which you see of Yogi Adityanath, because right now the pictures inside Ram Janmabhoomi, where the temple is constructed, is not open for public consumption. So Hanuman Garhi, there are at least 100 stairs which you have to climb in order to reach the top of Hanuman Garhi. Now, when you reach the top of Hanuman Garhi, where you can see in the pictures, it's a very beautiful murti, is what they call, of Lord Hanuman. And the first thing that you have to do is you have to take a circle, which is from left to right around the Hanuman Garhi. That's why in the pictures you see Yogi Adityanath, after putting the mala or after bowing down to the Lord Hanuman, he had to take a picture. He had to take a circle. It's called the parikrama. And once you do the parikrama, then there are 2-3 small temples, and always in Hanuman Garhi you will see a lot of bhajans which are going on of Lord Ram. Generally, the main bhajan which goes is of Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Now, after anybody who goes to Ayodhya, apart from visiting Hanuman Garhi, which you see in the pictures, and also visiting the Ram temple, there is much to visit the Saryu river. So Saryu is the river, and I'm quite sure Yogi Adityanath every year, during the time of Deepavali, since Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath came into governance, he ensured that the Diwali at Ayodhya is celebrated in a grand way. At least more than 900 diyas used to be lit near the Saryu river. So any individual who's going to Ayodhya, in fact, Chief Minister and his visitors also visited Saryu river. Now, Saryu has a very big historical importance, because Saryu is the river where there are two important historical connotations to Saryu. It is the same river through which the car sevaks tried to enter when the then Mulayam Singh government completely had locked down the city. And that is number one. But earlier, the great Saint Tulsidas, when he was writing the Ramcharitamanas and a lot of shloks and bhaktis on Lord Ram, this was one river where Tulsidas, the great Tulsidas, said that I am speechless in order to see the beauty of the great Saryu river. This is the river which has seen everything in the Ram Janmabhoomi movement, and it is a centuries-old river. That's why they say that Saryu is the reflection of Ayodhya. And just on the banks of Saryu is where there are multiple temples there in Ayodhya, and this is where a lot of shows which I have done a lot of shows there, and all the saints which you see assemble at that place, and that is also a media point for a very good visual of Ayodhya, and that is the exact place where the mini Deepavali or the Deepavali is celebrated in Ayodhya. So these are extremely important points. But another important point, Niranjan, is that Ayodhya has many small temples, and each small temple, though not very popular, has a big history behind it. So what you are seeing right now over the course of in the next 10 days, you will see all these small temples being lit, and you will also see all these small temples ensuring that puja starts taking place at every day. So you will have a lot of bhajan kirtan which will take place at Hanuman Garhi, but at these small temples also you will start seeing things which are happening. So as you start entering Ayodhya, you see multiple temples, and these are very small temples, and each of these temples will have Lord Hanuman Murti at the entrance. That is another unique part which you will see at Ayodhya. So these are things which are extremely important, and the Chief Minister's visit is a trailer. The Prime Minister, when he will be visiting, the Bhoomi Pujan is expected to take place at around 12:15 p.m. Now, when I was there on the ground and I spoke to all these saints at the Akhada, whether it is Digambar Akhada, where the Ram Janmabhoomi movement had initially started, all of them were saying that we have been preparing for the Bhoomi Pujan from the past 3 months, but we want the Prime Minister to do it. So that is the official Bhoomi Pujan, and with respect to the Mahorat, and they will use a stone of Chandi. Now, Chandi is used because it gives coolness, and any puja Chandi is being used. So big the Prime Minister in his Bhoomi Pujan will be doing so, and using the stone which is made up of Chandi. That is also very important, which is there. And a lot of saints are also coming from Kashi, because it is believed that Kashi is the epitome of knowledge and Kashi is the epitome of spirituality. So you will have the saints who are coming from Kashi also doing a lot of mantras. UP, in that sense, Niranjan, is known for Ayodhya, the grand Ram Mandir which is finally being built. Along with that, why
grand Ram Mandir which is finally being built? Along with that, why is Kashi also important, being the epitome of knowledge? But in the Hindu scriptures, it is said that two places, one is Ayodhya and the second is the Manikarnika Ghat in Kashi. They reflect the entire essence of life, and this is why you see Banaras angle is very important even in Ayodhya. So these are a lot of dimensions which are going on, Niranjan, and this is why 5th of August is nothing less than a Deepavali, not just for Hindus but for people of across religions living in Ayodhya. And another thing which is very important, Niranjan, is that when Mathura or Kashi was planned, the planning took place post facto. This is why the administration is ensuring in the case of Ayodhya, the planning is happening continuously, which means that a 4-lane highway is being constructed, so in order to ensure that the movement towards the Mandir is faster, because Ayodhya has a lot of narrow lanes, and that is the similarity between Ayodhya and Banaras, that both of them resemble narrow lanes and huge amount of temples. Now, another point which is very important, if you see Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, that might not be shown on the camera, that anybody who goes to the Ram temple and first visits the Hanuman temple has to carry prasad in the form of desi ghee ka laddu. This is something which is very unique, because they say that a laddu made from desi ghee is something which has to be first given to the Lord Hanuman's temple and then moved to Lord Ram. This is very unique to Ayodhya. This you will not find in Kashi, and this is why near the temple you will have multiple sweet shops selling desi ghee ka laddu. This is another thing which is very unique to Hanuman Garhi, and particularly to the Lord Ram, the grand Ram Mandir which is being constructed, roughly 500 meters to 1 kilometer as you move away from the Hanuman Garhi. So these are things which are very important. And another thing thing which is extremely important, Niranjan, is that there is a place called as Karsevakpuram in Ayodhya. Now this place, there is a Karyashala where all these stones which will be the inscriptions which will be there in the Mandir are being put, and this is where this is another very important point, because Karsevakpuram is the place which is associated with the 1990s movement, and when the 90s movement started, it started from Karsevakpuram. This is why Karsevakpuram also becomes a very unique part in Ayodhya.